Welcome to This Commerce Life. We are an unscripted podcast dedicated to small businesses and entrepreneurs in the retail and consumer packaged goods space in Canada and the United States.
I am Phil Chang, co-host and co-founder.
And I'm Kenny Vanucci, co-host and co-founder of This Commerce Life.
Our love is the journey to retail, and our passion is sharing that with you every week. How are you?
Good.
Well, I'm on my phone because my computer has stopped working. I feel like every time I set up for something like this, it just goes. So here I am.
Okay.
That is okay. That is okay.
That's good.
It's actually really funny, right? Because Kenny and I have been working on stuff for part of the morning. Everything's been fine. And then I jumped on early because I try and set things up early, and I actually had to reboot because my mic, right, Kenny? Like, we've been on for like an hour, 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Fine. And then I jumped on this and the mic wasn't working. I'm like, what? So I had to reboot. And then literally as soon as you came on, like, I've had 3 phone calls, and you're going, nobody ever calls. Like, what?
Just typical.
Yeah, right.
That's just the way it plays.
It's just the way things.
You got the record button started. The record start thing. Not saying that Phil has done that before, because Phil has
who would have done such a thing ever? Yes, the record button is on. We're on the go.
Just making sure.
We're on the court. No. I did. That's a legit.
Just making sure.
That is
a legit.
Just tossing it out there. I know what I'm capable of.
Usually once a year, I do something like that, and then we hang up, and I go, "Oh no, oh no!" And then I live in dread because I gotta call somebody back and go, "Listen, I'm so sorry, but I totally screwed up."
Yeah, I bet that last hour we gotta go again.
Yeah. We'll just do the whole thing again. It'll be just as spontaneous. It'll be great.
Only one. You did one. You did it a couple. You have to probably done once a year.
Yeah,
but once was brutal because I think the podcast it was stellar. It was such a good podcast.
So good. It was so.
And then we kind of thought, okay, now shit. Now you got to let the person. Hey, just so you know that was just like just a run through.
Yeah, just remember all of that and do it again. Yeah,
I know, right?
Which doesn't work because half the time we don't remember because we don't have anything written down, right? So I never know the hell. Yeah. If you ask me what we talked about last week, I don't know. We talked about yesterday. I have no clue.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that's part of it.
So before we get too far, we've got Amanda Kenny on. She's the founder and chief merchandiser at Hive Naturals, and we are excited to do this. We've taken a couple of cracks at this. I think once, we were busy. There was another time, you were stuck in an airport somewhere.
I was stuck in Mexico. Couldn't get back because I was trying to travel on my Irish passport, and that didn't work. So I spent an extra night there, and that's that's okay.
Just one night in Mexico. I feel like it's like Mexico and Hawaii. If you're in the right places, you kind of
drag it out.
I'm sorry, I need a passport to go home. Oh, yeah,
I will just stay. Oh. I mean, it would have been nice.
Tack on at least a couple extra days.
I know. No, I was out the next morning, back to Canada.
Well, that's okay too.
Yeah. So it's third time lucky for us now. So we got once you guys couldn't, I couldn't, and now here we are. So
perfect.
Yeah, and it was awesome to see you at CHFA because we hadn't met in person. Really cool. So it's nice. Yeah. Such a fun show.
That was a great show.
That was a really great show.
It was a really good show.
Was it? Did you have fun at the show?
Yeah, I think for us, like our first booth. So it's exciting times for Hive, and just seeing everybody, like the energy there. It's electric, right? Everybody's just so happy to be in person to share their products, and then. We're a service-based business, so I was thinking, how is this going to go? But it went really, really well. We were delighted.
That's awesome. And were you looking more for retail or for manufacturers, brands, or both?
Well, both always, but we're really set on retailers now. We've been very lucky to get a lineup of clients. We have a wait list now, which feels pretty good. And then with the retailers... Nice. we want to make those partnerships, and they've been so incredibly welcoming to us, and we have these great relationships. But I think it can be more like introducing ourselves. What are we doing in their stores? Why are we there? And just that education piece, we've for the past year really focused on the client, but truly the retailer is number one for us, because if we don't have them on our side, we have nothing. It doesn't matter if we have 100 clients. We need to have the retailer happy at all times. You guys get it.
Which was good though, because the show was there was more retailers than I can remember for a few years. That was a lot of retailers. There was a lot of retail badges at this show. A lot of retail badges, which was really, really, really good.
Yeah, nice to see for sure.
Absolutely.
I thought the other thing that was kind of interesting was the conversations that you could overhear as well. Like they were, because sometimes you get to shows where there are a lot of retail badges, but they're hiding mostly. Like they want to be able to see the show. They don't want to do anything else. They don't want to talk to people. They just want to go to the show. But I thought I heard a lot of, like, as I was kind of wandering the aisles, I heard a lot of like really healthy discussions around, how does this work? How does this fit? Could this be something for us? Here's what I'm looking for, which I don't normally hear retail buyers say a lot of here's what I'm looking for, which I thought was really cool. I don't know if either of you heard that either, but I thought that was really, like, to me, that's really healthy dialogue, right? Because you're at a show that could potentially just be a full sell and, kind of a one-way street, right? So
yeah, and I feel like from being in the field and those conversations for sure, but the retailers are supporting local more than ever. Loblaws right now, all their end caps, their side panels are Canadian products. London Drugs bringing in all of their Earth Day, but also like really focusing on those 2 Canadian sections, which is so important. Whole Foods bringing in products earlier than they ever would have, and it's great to see. I know some people think, oh well, we're bringing in products from everywhere else, but I really think now more than ever, it's Canadian focused. And so Phil, yeah, definitely those conversations. I'm not surprised I didn't hear them, but it's not surprising at all.
It's good though.
It's
good. It's about bloody time.
It's definitely nice to see. We have 19 Canadian products, so I am like, let's go. It's time.
Yeah, let's go. Speaking of let's go. So I, Kenny and I, we've now met you in person, which is super cool, but we don't actually know a ton about you. So I think I would love to, just the 10 minutes we got to spend kind of like down the aisle, we interrupted your poor friend. But like,
I felt bad for that. We did a lot
I
of
felt
that,
bad. Like, it was just, I think it was me being me, but like Amanda and her friend were wandering down this aisle and they were talking pretty. And I was like, Amanda! And then all of a sudden, like, mayhem broke loose. And then the poor friend was like, oh, okay, I'll just see you later. Right. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
It was worth it. You needed to stop. I'm glad you did.
But I guess, like, so the next 45 minutes, I guess we'd love to hear kind of how you got to where you are, like a bit of your story, where you come from. And then I think, the audience will want to know about Hive as well, but
sure. More about you right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Where you're from, why you doing this, how'd you got here, why even Canada, like all of it.
Okay, great.
Because I didn't hear it at the show, but I can hear the accent.
I didn't hear it at the show either. And then I looked at the last name.
I might have been partially
deaf. I'll tying it all together, but
it's when I say words like Dublin, love, you can hear it. There's the Irish accent. Yeah. I've been away 13 years, but it's never gonna go. But yeah, so basically I left Ireland when I was 21 and I was like, I'm going to Australia. Peace out, everybody. And went to Australia for 2 years and got deported because I overstayed my visa for 1 year. So that was time to leave, And then we did this tour of Asia, Africa. It was amazing. We were traveling for months, but then I had to grow up, get a job, settle. And so I thought, where better to go than Canada? Because it was the Olympics. And I thought, we'll stop in Canada for 6 months, but that is it. And 13 years later, here I am. But, but when I arrived in Canada, I didn't know what I was doing. So it was like the Jameson girl, the vitamin water girl, that I worked in a gym. And then I met a guy and an amazing woman, Frank Gistra, Kim Gallivan. And they are in Vancouver. They had this olive oil company. And I went in as the administration assistant, and I got fired after 2 weeks because I am terrible at admin, like not organized. But they said to me, "You will make an amazing salesperson." I was like, "I don't know about olive oil. Like, I don't know. We eat butter in Ireland. I'm not sure." So I went to Urban Fare, and my first sale, I sold 80 cases. And this olive oil is $32 per bottle wholesale. So this is a big
Holy
deal,
crap.
right? So when I
Yeah.
come back, we pop a bottle of champagne because it's our first ever sale. And then they're like, "You're head of sales of North America." Meanwhile, like, I've never even been to Toronto or Calgary. This is a big deal. And then from there, just flying to Toronto, flying to Calgary, and then we went to the States, to Japan, and it was incredible. I got so much life experience, but then also obviously this glimpse into this incredible food world, more focused on lifestyle, I would say, over grocery, but still getting a taste of both. And then 2020 hit, and I thought, what am I doing with my life? Am I going to sell olive oil forever? I don't know. And so I had this great idea. With entrepreneurs, we have 4 ideas before we get to the one. So first, I was going to start a funding company and raise money, but I couldn't work out how to make money or do it really. And that lasted, say, 4 months. And I was like, okay, I don't know about this. And then I was starting an online catering company. And this was the idea. I was going to make it, and then, couldn't get a developer. It fell. And then we started a brokerage. And the brokerage actually went really well. We had amazing companies. And I know you've had some on the podcast, like Yogu, Moonshine Mama, just like unbelievable. But it was kind of like a house on stilts because we were a team of 7 with 14 amazing products. But a year in, we're just like, I command brokers, my God, because I couldn't do it. And so, but from there, being in the brokerage, I kept seeing this pattern. The product gets on the shelf, great. You pay the listing fee, awesome. But how does it come off? And in a world of like 20, 30 to 100 like competitors sitting beside you, how does it happen? Do you have this big marketing budget? So then, the next sentence is, lo and behold, Hive, the merchandising company, came about. And, this is new. We're in business only since March last year, but it's really taken off. And we've been so lucky to have such incredible support, like by all of the brokers, the distributors, and of course the brands. And that's where we are. Here it is today.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So do me a favor. Like, so what exactly, what service do you actually provide? Like, what do you guys do then? Because you're not doing brokerage anymore.
No, we're out of the brokerage game. Yeah.
So you're in the merchandising game, which entails.
Yeah. So there's 16 women, and we are in BC and Ontario currently. And what we're doing is seeing hundreds of stores every month, going in, using our app called Repsly, and okay, is the product on shelf? Is it on promo? Is it line priced? Pictures, and just all of those questions. Could you get a secondary? So we're answering those, and then we're truly trying. Let's get displays. Let's get those secondary placements, the points of interruption around the store, adding marketing material to the shelf, educating the store staff, giving samples. And because we see the sales, we increased Happy Planet sales by 383% in 6 weeks, Midday Squares and Thrifties by 300% in 8 weeks. And it's because all eyes are on that product. When we're on it, we're really pulling it forward, and the education is there. And it's just so difficult otherwise. Sure, you can pay, and I do encourage this, pay the flyer fees and put your product on promo. But it still requires us going in and really bringing it forward, because how many other products are you battling against? And, I went to a talk with Gail Tom recently from Horizon, and she drew the circle. And she's like, the distributor, the broker, the merchandiser. She said, the distributor will store and deliver the product. The broker will put it on promo and basically do your head office listings. But then the product just sits there on shelf. What's next? And that's truly where Hive comes in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the old days, you had people in the store that were supposed to do that, but there's not as many people in the stores anymore.
No, like such a staff shortage.
Tough, right?
Yeah, I feel for the stores because truly there's people trying to do 10 jobs one time and they just can't. That rotation of the product on shelf isn't happening. We're finding product in the back rooms a lot of the time. Product sits expired on shelf, and that's where we're looking as well. And it's unfortunate, but I think we're truly making a difference because of this as well.
Right. So it's almost like you're actually working for the store. You're not, but you know what I mean? It's that they just don't have the bodies or the people to do it anymore. So you guys are going in and actually putting stuff on the shelf, facing, rotating, watching dates. Are you doing any other things? Are you putting up signage, POS?
So
demoing, not demoing, like what goes on?
Yeah. So when we see the product on shelf, we're looking at all of the dates. And if we're bringing new product out, we're putting that at the back, pulling all the product on shelf forward. We're helping the store managers forecast as well, because if there's a promotion coming, don't order the same that you typically would. Let's get a bigger order in. So we're not selling through within 3 days, and it's a wasted promotion for everybody, money for the retailer too. So we're working with them on that. And, that's because they are so busy. They're not looking at it. The other thing we're doing is cross promotion. So a new product arrives, nobody knows what it is. We're saying, right, let's put this protein bar with a shake, or let's put the non-alc beer with some chips. And it works, right? It works for the consumer to understand what the product is, and then it works for retail sales because the consumer probably will pick up 2 products. So we're really trying to work it from all angles to get the product off shelf, adding marketing material, to get secondary placements or displays wherever we can, and then to help the retailer. The product's not on shelf, we're going into the back to check is any there. If it's not, we're working with the distributors to get an order in. And that's helpful for them too, because sometimes they don't know. They think it is on shelf or they think it's in the back, and it can literally be weeks without anything on shelf in this large gap.
Right.
I think to me, I think there are so many valuable bits in there too. Like you've got store staff are kind of getting pulled in 18 different directions. Even individual SKU knowledge, right? Like you take your old world of olive oil. Like if I'm a store guy, I'm in there, I might know olive oil, but I might not, right? And so if I kind of look and I go, okay, well, Bertolli's out there and a handful of all these other guys are out there, good, I'm good. I may never know that there's a case missing of $30 olive oil that I should have on shelf, right? Like it's not something I'm worried about. I'm worried about, do I have any empty holes? I'll fill it with whatever I can find. And then I'm moving on to another category just to make sure I'm filled and faced up, right? So having someone in the store that can go, listen, it's great. You've got the commodity stuff that's going to make you $1 a bottle, but the one that's going to make you $8, it's sitting in a case in the back that's probably going to get broken in another week or so, right? Like those things are pretty valuable, I think. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And we always say we're like Switzerland because we're so neutral to every party here, because for the distributors, we make them money because sales are increasing. For the brokers, we're doing the same. And then for the retailers, like as you said, Kenny, we're helping them do the job. And so, I was talking to the guys at Choices, and like we know prices have gone up. It's 12% inflation since last August. That is massive. And so for them, they're seeing this decline, especially in natural, and we are a natural merchandiser. So any help that they can have to get these products rotating, it's massive,
Right.
So, and I think they're all starting to see it. It took a while though. first they're like, are you a broker? They didn't get it, right? Who are these girls? What are they doing? Like, doesn't roll off. Even we're at the show, they're like, okay, so are you a distributor? Are you a broker? It takes a while to explain. We're actually not here to sell you anything. We're here just to help. It seems almost false, right? Why would you do that? But yeah, slowly it's coming.
So when you talk about like cross promoing, secondary display is good. Like you can come into my store, you can do that. You can go into stores that aren't massively planogrammed and do that, like a Choices, let's say, or but how do you do anything in a Loblaws or a London or a Save On where you're planogrammed, and so is all the display. Every wing's accounted for, every end's accounted for, like all the space is accounted for. What how do you work in that mess?
So I'll use Loblaws to start, and then I'll go through every retailer that you just said. But with the Loblaws, so people pay for end caps, as you guys know, and we saw Cove drinks a few weeks ago, and they're with toilet cleaner on the end aisle. So we're just saying to the manager, listen, let us do it for you. Let us just rearrange this. And they do, because we're showing them the before photo, the after, and then they know the impact that of sales will just increase. So although we're not actually changing the planogram at Loblaws, we're just filling the end cap of the product the way it's supposed to look and what's supposed to be there. Then with Save On and London Drugs, we work with data. So we're saying, give Eve's Crackers a chance on the deli in Save On, and we'll show you how much sales will increase. Just give us 8 weeks. We go back, we show them the sales increase. They're like, keep it on. And that's what we keep doing. And then with London Drugs, we're clip stripping. We're adding smaller secondaries, but yeah, it's more case stacking on the floor than actually rearranging anything on the shelf and clip stripping all over the store. But when we first started this, we didn't know what we were doing. We had a great idea, but truly didn't understand how it was going to work. Now we will not sell the retailers anything or push anything unless they gave us the rules. An end cap has to move within 4 weeks. A shipper has to move within 3 weeks, and a clip strip has to go within 2 weeks. And if we don't think we can make that happen, don't even try it. Don't even ask. And so I think now they know that we truly respect what we're them and what we're going to ask for. So we're not pushing anything in a store unless we can show the data to know that it will sell through.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what's working so far.
How do you, maybe you said it and I didn't hear it, but how do you get paid, Amanda?
Get paid.
Who pays you?
I'm trying to figure that out, like which side, because I know retailers, because we came from that side.
Yeah.
And as much as retailers, I would love all the help. I ain't paying for it.
Yeah. And
like all three of the groups, right? Would be like, nah. That's great, but nah. Like,
yeah. No, the
you
retailer
want
should
me
put
to
it out.
pay? I'm not paying.
Yeah,
Like,
well, the retailer should do that. You're thinking, well, the retailer's not going to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay for it. Get the distributor to pay for it. I'm not going to pay for it. It's your product. You pay for it.
Yeah.
So, to Phil's point.
So I would say, what it is the brand. The brand pays for it, for sure. And we usually then pay for ourselves within 6 to 8 weeks for the brand. But yeah, I mean, we have never asked the retailer to pay because to your point, there's no chance it's going to happen.
I'm not going to pay for shit.
No,
right?
No.
Not going to happen.
And we're not going to ask. Can you imagine the day we ask for that? They're like, get out.
They'll laugh at you. They will seriously get out of here.
Yeah. We're just happy that we're allowed in their store, right? No money passing here at all.
Right.
And then for the distributors and the brokers, although they don't pay us cash, what they're great at is the referrals.
Right.
So that for us is almost worth more than any cash because they're sending the steady flow and they're saying, look, these girls can show you case studies. This is what they've done. They're not just telling you all of these stories. That's why we're so married to the data and the case studies and why I show it on both sides. So I'm showing the brands, listen, this is the increases that we get. And then the retailer, let us just try this out and proving, because like Kenny, I actually listened to you say something to Bram. You're like, everybody used to come in and tell me all the things. Like, every salesperson would promise me this, that, and the other. And I get it because we're salespeople. That's what we do.
Exactly.
So if I can show the data and say, listen, I am a salesperson, sure, but here it is in writing. Here are the numbers. I think it's super effective. And it's just not me talking, it's me showing you what will happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Interesting.
No, I do. I like it. Just
While Kenny's thinking, I have other questions.
Shoot.
How, like, one of the things I love about doing this with people is, for everybody else, you just kind of like do. And like the leaps are amazing. Like, so kind of go, for you, it was like, I got to do something. I'm going to go sell olive oil. I'm selling olive oil all around the country, all around the world. And then you kind of go like broker to Hive, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what did you see, right? Like, what did you see that made you, because nothing in there, you know, this would be something that you kind of like a classic, you know, kind of pivot would be, I'm going to make my own ethically sourced, you know, I found an Italian olive grove that Kenny doesn't know about that I'm going to go buy, or I'm going to go source, and
Right.
I'm going to make my own olive oil, or I'm going to do something, you know, that, but you kind of went, no. Like, I'm going to go over there because that model, yeah, like that model doesn't seem to make sense to
and
me,
it's funny,
or I could do it better. So
usually Phil and I are like, usually half the time I can't understand how people got where they got. Like the leaps are quantum. I actually almost think I get this one.
Okay.
If you had a brand and you're sold in 80 cases of olive oil into Urban Fare, you guys went back to the office, high five, champagne corks, right? You go in the next month, you're thinking, where's the olive oil? Oh, fuck, it's not on the floor. Must have sold out. You take 3 seconds, you go to the back room and think, 1, 2, 3, 4,
not sold
80.
Yeah.
I didn't quite make it to the floor yet, has it? It was a good sell in.
We're not even there.
We've lost the concept of selling out.
Yeah.
So I could see that maybe from there. And then as a broker, you're definitely going to the back rooms. I mean, so I'm assuming what your thing was, and clarify. I'm assuming you figured out that the sell-in is not the complicated part.
Yeah.
The talking to the store people is not the complicated part. The hole in the shelf for 3 months is kind of where the miss might be.
Yeah. And I always say, like, with any good sales, like any salesperson can get on the shelf once, but come off 2, 3, 4 times and then chat. And then let's talk. But yeah, I think all of those things combined, right? Like, is the product sitting in the back, or is it selling? Did it just all expire, or are we actually sold out? And then, how to get those repeat sales. So, you know, Richard from Whole Foods is not looking and thinking, am I bringing this product back in? Probably not. I don't even want to get there. I want to be like, he's just looking at it and thinking, let's go. And, you know, the other thing was brands, because I took the olive oil from zero. And so I lived in the startup world. So, you know, 0 to 1 million. So then all of the startups kept calling me to ask questions. And I think that was it as well. I kept looking at these startup brands, and I have this passion for the startups. I love them. I want them all to survive. And it's not easy, you know, like the survival rate, it's low. And so I think in that as well is that we thought, okay, sure, we want to work with the bigger brands. There's no doubt about it. But how can we help the smaller guys too? How can we make them shine a little, you know, because they probably are higher in price, you know, they don't have any marketing dollars. How in the world are they going to stand up against the Heinz, the Kellogg's, all of these big guys? They're not, truly, unless you get some light shined in them in store.
Right. Okay, Phil.
Hey, Kenny, what's going on?
Another day in paradise, buddy boy. Another day in paradise.
Yeah, baby.
You know what I was thinking about today was we talk about it a lot, whether it's on the podcast or outside of the podcast, even when we're talking about it with our brand, with OGB and the T, is one of the hardest things to do or find in our industry when you're really trying to get your brand to the next level, whether it's in distribution or with a distributor or whatever, is trying to find people you can partner with. Trying to find the right people to partner with. Finding people to partner with is not the complicated part. It's the right people.
Yeah.
How do you do that, Phil? And where do you do this? Like, what is this? What does this look like? What does a great partnership look like?
Yeah. So partnership, it is one of the things we talk about the most, is finding the right people that fit your models, that fit what
Right.
you want to do, and then can really bring value. And so,
And get you, right? Understand
yeah,
what you're trying to
yeah,
do and not try to impose what
yeah.
they want to do.
And so, like, one of these people that we think in, so if you are looking for someone who you need to be a health food broker, if you need someone to help you with consulting on your Canadian retail sales process,
Right.
if you need solid national or regional representation, you should be thinking about Pareen and her team at Salud Brand Management.
Right.
They know the market. They understand. They've been in the market for a long time, and they've got experience and depth in helping you maximize your opportunities in the Canadian marketplace. But partnership is a really big deal. So Pareen and her group is a really kind of solid group that you can lean on to help you grow.
I would agree. And from a personal level, to be honest with you, I mean, I've gone to her for advice and for help, to the point where, we're going to be using her with OGB and trying to get our stuff forward. And the reason is because I love the fact that she's super honest. Her team is honest. They're on it. They're not scared to give you the feedback that you require to make the right decisions. And I trust her. Her integrity is second to none. And just a great team that really understands and tries to listen to what you're trying to do, but make it make sense for our marketplace that we're in.
So if you want to check them out, head to saludbrandmanagement.com. That's SALUD brandmanagement.com/services. And that'll put you in touch with Pareen and her team. I like it.
Which again always sounds a lot easier than I'm trying. Then I go back down Phil's road. I'm thinking like it's still in the execution. How do you? I mean, you're dealing with retailers, right? And I'm still data driven. Like if you could show me, because I would come and you would say, listen, I want to do clip strips all over. I say, I'm happy for you. Just so you know, all the clip strips you're going to take down or replace or put in that spot, they're all paid.
Yeah.
I got funds for those. So you can't just run willy-nilly and clip strip my store.
Yeah.
Now, if you did, I'll authorize one. You tell me what you're doing. If you come back with data, yes, it's massively compelling because I can actually go sell that space now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that person got a 2-month freebie. I can actually monetize this, which remember, that's what retail sort of about. I mean, it is what it is, right? But at least you got a compelling argument, or you can give me some data saying, yeah, if we do this, you can see what, let's say, the cough drops did in July, which is great. I'm glad you sold that space, but you did shit with the space.
Yeah.
Here's what you did with this candy or whatever it is, snack. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe come back with the data that way. But how are you getting that data then? You're obviously pushing, like, so if you go into Whole Foods and you phone Richard and say, hey, we did this for 2 weeks. Can you tell me the POS? Is that what you're doing? Or how are you?
Oh, we are getting done. So I'll tell you, Whole Foods is the portal. Save On is the portal. But then we're also like, I'm calling Propel. Please give me the data. B&Q, agency, LeBeau. I'm like, come on. And then if they, let's say, can't want their busy, most of the time they do. I have to give credit to the brokers. They really do. Then I'm asking
what's in their best interest, right?
Totally. And they're very good about it when they can. And then, yesterday I'm talking to Midday Squares. Their data is unbelievable. Give me all your Safeway data so I can then, and you guys know Corianne Webster. Corianne is a master at then taking the data, putting it all into a pretty case study, and then showing it out. But yeah, it's no set way to get that data. We are pulling it any way we can. Because Repsly, the app that I told you before that we use, it's great, but it truly is just saying, okay, how many voids did you fill? How many clip strips? How many displays?
All important, right?
Totally.
All important. But again, until it goes into a basket, who cares?
Exactly. So that's why we need to show you the report here and then the end here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're saying, so you have access to the Whole Foods and Save On portals via the brands,
and
or you actually?
Yeah, via the brands.
Okay. Which is okay too, which is good because the brands should have it. I know for a fact, as I know obviously enough brands, that they have all this information. And I was sitting in a meeting yesterday and the question was, oh, I wonder how it's doing. I'm thinking, well, let's try this concept. That password you have for that portal? Why don't you just, hop into that puppy and see what's going on, because it's probably going to tell you.
Yeah.
And you're thinking like, it's your product, it's your brand, you own the password. My God, people.
Yeah,
it's there. Go
yeah.
get it. I mean, what are we asking?
Yeah, and this is the thing, do you find a lot of brands like you, and like we were saying the same thing, you got to know your brand inside out.
Seriously.
Where do you sit in the category? Like, what number are you? How many units per week, per month are you selling? What's your top seller? I feel like we line up 20 brands. Will they know that? Probably not,
No.
And we are so married to the data because of that, plus a million other reasons. But yeah, I think as we grow and as we like continue down this path, next steps are we're going to open up in Alberta on June 1st. We're going to take on Quebec on June 1st, which
That'll be interesting.
yeah,
Wow.
well, yeah, we're going national.
Big.
And then the data piece, really
Right.
looking at that over the next year of, because I'm telling you now, like what we're masters as, pulling it from everywhere, running, like, but I'd love to get some system truly in place that, yeah. And then we have it at our fingertips.
Yeah. You need to compile and consolidate and then just basic dashboard it.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. But again, to your point, it's challenging, and it's challenging. It's challenging in a world that's still pretty much this way. Again, because I unfortunately I see it, is how's it selling? Oh, we sold 30 cases. I said, you didn't hear the question. How is it selling?
Yeah.
Not how many cases you dumbass put into the store, which again, any jackass can do.
Yeah.
I understand that part. How is it selling?
Yeah.
Is it sitting on an end and a wing stack and I can see the 30? Or please tell me I can go in and see only 10 left. That would be interesting.
Yeah. And then, is your product selling? Is it only selling on the end cap, or is it selling
and only on
shelf?
price? Like, you need basically display, price, banners, fireworks, 17 demos, and 40 people standing in front of it.
Yeah.
Then again, pretty much anything could probably sell.
100%. And I think the demos now, we don't do demos. You asked me that at the start, but we see the importance. So we're partnering with demo companies across the country because, to your point, sure, we can do all the right things, but now we got to get the people to taste it, right? Because this is like, they bring it home, they taste it, sure, whatever. But if we can get them in the store, if we can get that sampling, if we can do the street teams and get it into people's hands, it's so effective. All of this together.
Right.
Yeah, it's that's really cool. I think it's there probably some really cool things that at some point you're going to be able to do with the data, right? So the dashboards are one of them, but even I when you guys were talking, the part that makes me maybe laugh and cry the most, right? Like a really common question that happens that nobody, if you haven't worked in the field, you don't even know how to answer it, is if I could get a secondary placement of a product, where should it go and how do I track it?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's a really simple question, right? Is like, hey, I have a product that I think would be really cool. It could go here, but I could see it going there. How do we even test it? And the answer becomes no idea. How do we do that? Right. Like, and then you get like head office people would be like, well, maybe we make a different UPC code, maybe. And the true answer is you just need to talk to store staff, right? Like people who are in the store will be able to tell you what the answer is.
Or they'll be able to try it for you.
Yeah, yeah.
An office is going to look, you're not going to get dual placement just because. It's not going to happen.
No.
Right. And I can't track it because you got the same UPC on both. And quite frankly, we can double UPC it, but now I'm relying on store staff to make sure the right UPC goes in the right location. Way too many issues. So I could go to you and say, listen, try these 5 stores with this item. And in these 5 stores, do the different. And let's see if they're like stores and like neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Again, we're talking, like if you're a brand, you're thinking, how about we just put it everywhere?
Yeah.
And where it sells, because really, I don't have time to do all that. And first off, in large retailers, I don't want to pay for my data.
Yeah.
I should, I get it, but you don't even have a marketing fund. You can barely hire the merchandiser.
Expensive.
And now I got to go buy my own data.
It's crazy high.
Seriously?
Totally. So like right now, I would say, we all say we're earning the space because to your point, we're proving that it works. So, Cedar Valley, our aim is to get, especially in Sobeys, get those chips up onto the deli, get them beside the cheese, get people to visualize what they're eating these chips with. And so again, they're not paying, like these brands aren't paying for the data. But what we're saying
every
is
cracker and old guy is.
yeah. And so we're saying, Bob from Sobeys, give
Right.
us 3, just one facing of each. Let us test it out for 6 to 8 weeks. Then he'll give the sales and tell me if we failed or succeeded. And it's kind of fun because they like it too. They're like, it's not going to work, but I'll give you the few weeks, whatever. You're going to take this size. Let's see what happens. And when it does work, I have to say, the more and more we succeed, fair play to them, they do say, okay, this is a local product under 3 million. We'll give it a shot.
Yeah,
We
now
know
I'll find a reason to put you out.
Yeah, it's like we'll give you the little dollar space that you typically pay $5,000 for, but because the sales are flowing, we want to give it a chance. Right. Yeah, and I mean it's true what we said at the very start. The support of Canadian is growing. The support of those smaller brands is growing. And look, sure, retailers have to turn. They're smart. They will get the bigger brands to pay because that's what they have to do. But I think there is still that flex space. It's not big, but for those local brands, say smaller brands.
It might not be big in the majors. There's still a lot of independent out there that can play
and
are willing to play because what they're looking for is a competitive edge against. It's no use me carrying Lay's and Old Dutch and chips in the store. Like, why? I'm competing now with every single retailer in the country.
Mm-hmm.
All the stores, all the majors, all the minors, like I'm competing with vending machines in school. It's just a shit show. So if I could find something a little different, I'm much more compelled to listen to that argument than not. But again, you still have to try to find that space. And I guess it's the majors I always worry about because they control so much of our grocery dollars in this country.
Yeah.
And they talk a good talk about local until you go in their store and you're thinking, well, I don't remember Cincinnati being local, but sure, I guess it's North America. It's local enough.
Yeah.
Earth, so within the solar system, I guess it's local. Sure.
Yeah, kind of local, sort of.
Yeah, kind of local. I think it's the local piece, but also it's I think it's the fact that we're in there as well. Say like in the Sobeys, Loblaws, Save-Ons. Because who else is going to do it? Who else is going to get like the expired product off shelf, get it moving a bit? And I think for them at this point in time, especially, it's almost like, why not? The space is already open. Would we typically do this like pre-COVID? Probably not. But I think it is turning a little bit. And long may it last because that's what our company is based on. So I'm hoping that, the more that we can prove that it works, that flex space will stay open and that we can.
I think it could, Amanda. I think it's really incumbent on the retailer now because what happens is what they have to understand is that brands can do it to a point. I can't pay Amanda and the listing fee and the co-op and the terms and the returns. And I was bored one day, so the debit sounded good. Like I can't manage all. Like sooner or later, I have to look at used retailers. Say your doors are open. Like what purpose do you serve?
Yeah,
I mean I can do it. I'd happily pay for it, but I can't pay for everything else on top of it. So how do we make this work?
Yeah, like pay for everything else on top, still feed my family. There has to be something there left over. Otherwise, what at the end of the day are we doing?
It's not a charity, right? I mean,
it's too much. It's a breaking point, right?
Are you finding that though? So how are that's sort of going back to the retailer size. I don't know how well the large ones want to play. I know they conceptually they do. I don't know if they actually can. So I'm assuming with the independents, you're finding that willingness.
With the independents, it's great. We're putting up case stacks, even, let's say thrifties, we're going in, we're selling the case stacks there. But Safeway too, Save On, we're more so doing deals, as I said, pulling out on the deli. Loblaws, no, we're not. We're like fixing the end caps, we're moving product around, we're bringing
Which still
product
helps.
back.
Which
It's
still helps.
100% pull an expired product off shelf. But yeah, I think, you know, we know the retailer now. You know, we have these lists, and
Right.
I'm reaching out to them. I'm actually flying to Toronto next week because I'm meeting Fortinos and Longo's, Healthy Planet. And it's so imperative because I want to say, what are your rules and what can we do? Because this is
Right.
this whole conversation, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When we first started Hive, straight up, I was too scared to ask them what the rules are. Because I'm like, what if they say we can't come in the store? So I was like, I'll just hold off for a year and then prove ourselves and then
Right.
come back around to this. And so here we are. But yeah, I mean, we will definitely, for the smaller stores especially, and the smaller chains, you know, we have to like look at every single rule. And then for the larger ones, we'll suggest some things like, would you consider what, like, we've been doing this, we've looked at this and see,
Right.
you know, where that lands. But yeah, I think for now we have a lot of room and we are moving, and I hope to get that on paper for them to say, like, keep coming in, keep doing what you're doing, because we see the sales and we see that it's working.
It's awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
Tough gig. But
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody can do it, you're going to be able to do it. It's good. There's a few of you out there doing this type of thing, and I just don't. I think the challenge for me is always the same because I've such a cynical side because I've been doing this way too long. Is that I just know how much help we're going to get from retail, and the problem is it can't always be push downhill. It can't be a broker, distributor, brand problem all the time. There has to be some level of, hey, you know, not for anything, guys, but without us, there's not much of you either, right? So, you know, we should try to play a little bit better together and see if we can, you know, especially the Canadian side. I love the local. I love, because we know if you listen to our podcast, we love local. I love Canadian stuff, right? I love East Vancouver stuff. Like if I can hone it right down to a neighborhood, I do it. I mean, I like when we do our own shit, and I think it's important. 100%. I think we found out if we import food all day or finished goods, it's a problem when the world has a hiccup.
Yeah.
Totally. And it's sad to walk around the store and you see all of these imported goods when we have the most beautiful tomatoes in Langley. Like, let's get them in, right?
Exactly. We have so much to offer.
So much. Yeah. And, you know, as we talk about this, there's a lot of pieces here, but will change happen? You know, it's tough. Like this being this circle, this movement for such a long time, to break that pattern, it's not easy.
No, it's
Hence, not. Yeah, when we're talking about our business, people kind of get it, but they don't get it because it's new and it's different and we're disrupting a little bit, you know, like it's not in the normal groove.
Right.
And yeah, that it makes it tougher. It just does on all sides. So I think, you know, we just have to keep fighting to show that actually for everybody, this is a win.
I can see it. I can't see how you couldn't see it. It's just changing an attitude of a group that's is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool. I think if you keep showing the data, if you can get data, it's hard to argue it. Numbers are numbers, right? If I'm up, I'm up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think the data and the insights you bring they're important, right? It's the pieces we need to for retailers to keep moving. And
then we can change this game a little bit and have a lot more fun with it.
Yeah.
How great would that be?
Be awesome, man. Look how many Canadian brands we could have out there. Yeah. It'd be like so cool.
We're ready. It's time. And I feel like, you know, there's a lot of merchandisers out there, but we are the only ones for natural brands. And so that in itself was like, okay, these natural brands, because they aren't as big, they aren't turning volume, they're probably not $2, and that's just the way it is. So we're the first ones truly focusing on them, and which changes it too. Nobody really is sitting in the natural aisle. Nobody's visiting those. So they have been neglected for quite some time. Which, it's an interesting piece of it as well, right?
Yeah, that's a whole different paradigm to try
to
ship a store within a store. I don't know why you just don't put the products, you know. Why can't natural Rice Krispies next to Rice Krispies? Let me make the choice. I'm bright enough to figure out which one I want.
We should be past that point. Like the number of categories that we still do that in that don't make a lot of sense.
Think all the major retailers. Why do you have a natural aisle What the hell does that actually mean? Put the cereals with
it's
the freaking
mainstream
cereals.
already,
Put
so
the
just-
coffee with the coffee.
Yeah.
I'm big enough to understand why
Yeah.
is this coffee $9.99 for 70 kilos and this is $9.99 for 300 grams? Oh, I can read. Oh, organic, natural from the mountains or whatever. I can do that. But when you put it in an aisle
No.
that I'm not going to go to because I'm not interested in shopping one aisle, I want to do this. Want to bury this event, right? You want to move.
Yeah.
So if you can start doing that and finding abilities and ways to show retailers, listen, together is better.
God. That'd be so
I mean,
big.
then you've got a game changer because, and I think that's when the appendix you can do it. The little guys need to know that just put the stuff beside each other. Let people make a choice. They can figure it out. So, and you'll sell more natural.
Well, it's true. And we've had a lot of times. I was in trying to find this cracker brand. You said it was in the store. It's not.
It is. It's now 72 down in the back corner.
Yeah, you just didn't see it. But I was at the Crackers. Well, you were at the Crackers, but you were
not
in
that
the
cracker
right
set,
cracker.
the other cracker set.
Yeah. It's
right.
like, oh God. Yeah, it's not easy for consumers. I don't know where they're looking.
Not good for you though. I mean, I think you guys can do. Cool. I think it's cool. I love the fact it's in a natural set, and for the small guys, the Canadian stuff, it's good. It's a cool play. It's a very cool play.
Great. Well, I'm glad you guys are on board and love it.
Yeah, very cool play.
Thank you for coming on. We really
I enjoyed that.
We really enjoyed that. Like I'm really glad we got to do this. It was
great.
so nice to meet you in person, and then
finally, I feel like we've met you about 400 times and we hadn't.
You know, it's funny, right? Because we kept talking about it, and then Kenny was like, "Where are we going?" Like, because the Sunday I was dragging him all over the show, right? Because Saturday
I didn't really get to leave
had
the
a
booth,
tag team.
right?
We had to run around and do things separately, and so Sunday morning, because I was leaving at noon, I was like, "Dude, I have an agenda. We gotta go." And then you and I were conversing, via LinkedIn. So I was like, "No, we gotta go here. We gotta go there. Stop talking to that person. Let's go. Right?
Let's move.
Like, why are we going to see that? Amanda? Like, we met her. I'm like, we've never met her.
And I know Hive is a brokerage. I'm thinking, why are we going to go see another broker? It's Hive. I know Hive Naturals. I know of this person, and I know of the brokerage. Not thinking that there's merchandising aspects of them, and then I can't get down an aisle without stopping once or twice, right?
Can't get
totally. I feel like you guys are swarmed. Yeah, well, I'm so glad we got to meet, and we got to do the podcast after all this time.
All that.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God! Thanks for coming on.
No worries. Yeah, thank you for coming on. If people want to find you and Hive, where do they go to do those? Go
to our LinkedIn. I feel like we're getting a lot of traction on that. It's just Hive Naturals, and then the website hivenaturals.ca or .com. Sorry, and then it's we're so easy to get a hold of. Like we're here. I get back to people very quickly. Also, we want to chat to all the brands, all the retailers.
That's very cool.
Amazing.
It's a good service. It's needed.
Amazing.
So I'm happy. I'm happy there's someone actually out there doing it and excited about doing it. It's good. Needs it.
Guys.
Needs it.
Awesome.
This is great.
Thanks,
Thank
Amanda.
you.
All right.
Go enjoy the rest of your day. Phil, you hang on.
Yep.
Amanda, take care.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao. Bye.
Hey.
It's nice to see. Okay, because people like in the old days there was merchandisers.
Yeah.
Like in the old days, and actually what they used to be to large part was there was even distributors that took care of all the bullshit little things in the store, right? Whether it was all the sewing needs and pantyhose and all that stuff. And the merchandisers would come in, and at least as a store, you didn't have to worry about those areas. And then as payroll became a bigger issue over the years, you started.
It's the first thing to cut, right?
Your aisle people used to be in the stores, let's say, before the store opened. Or there would be night shifts. Remember in retail, we do night crews, and you'd reface the store and refill. Well, then they started looking at it, think, well, we should put those in the daytime hours because these people are also going to be cashiers. And then you do that, but now not as much goes out. So, that thing that you and I are talking about, 80 cases go in, 2 weeks later, you go in and think, oh shit, that's sold. And you go to the back room and you count 80 cases.
Yeah.
That's not unrealistic. It could sit in the back room for
months.
It
happens all the time, actually.
Exactly. What happened even in the old days when we had people.
Yeah.
But today, there's a real need for Amanda's and Jeff, like Doucette and all these guys and Brom all working together so that we have all these other resources to say, okay, like that's great. You got the PO and it's in a warehouse,
but it's
or in a receiving department. It's got to get on the front floor,
like,
man.
If it doesn't move,
Well, there's no
Who
point.
cares?
Yeah,
Who cares?
it's whatever. I mean, it's great. You got a PO. You're gonna get it all back. It's got to get out of the store.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I give her credit for it, because the natural set's probably even a little tougher. Right. Because you are battling price points now and the inflation and et cetera, et cetera. So if you can have someone like her on your side,
it's a big deal.
It's a massive deal.
Yeah.
It's a massive
And
deal.
then
I was even
I
thinking
think
for us, like, how do we do it? You know,
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard for me. Like, I'm like you, our little brand gets mixed up in all these things. You're thinking, okay, yeah, geez.
you don't the one thing that's niggling, that's kind of like stuck in the back of my brain, that may not be anything but could be something, is I think of some things that she could do to kind of help brands as well. Is you think of, so we've had a lot of like little brands on the show.
Yeah, totally.
And then like you and I are not inexperienced at retail, but sometimes I go to stores to go and look for the product. Can't find it. Right. And I don't know if it's combo of it's new, so the store doesn't know where it is, or it's new and it's placed somewhere that I don't know to look for it. Like there's kind of that combination
to me, it's 50 to 1.
things.
It's a placement issue.
Yeah,
Let's say a cracker comes on.
Yeah.
Like her example is valid. So a cracker comes on. It could be in produce.
Yep.
Okay. It could be. It could be in the deli.
Yep.
It should be in crackers, but which crackers? In the stupid natural aisle or in the conventional aisle? So I could potentially go to 4 places and legitimately potentially find it in all 4. Well, really? You're like me. After the first miss on the crackers,
nope,
I'm going to start losing faith. You know what? I'm just going to go get that cracker.
Yeah,
I don't really
I'm
care
going to
anymore.
go get something else.
I'm not hunting 4 locations in a store for a cracker.
So to me, there are a couple of things here. One is, for a brand, some of these in-store folks would be able to help you when you're going to pitch. Like, so, the one that pops is, we had Andrew Kinnear on, who does the yellow fruit, right? Yeah. And when I went to look for yellow fruit, couldn't find it. Probably went to like 4 different stores, right? Finally got frustrated, went to the local store where they know me really well, and I went, "What's the deal?" And they said, "Oh yeah, it's actually in the system, but we didn't order it yet." Right? We didn't even carry it, right? And then when it got there, I actually got I called me and said, "Listen, we ordered it. It's here." And then I went in and couldn't find it.
And where is it?
Right? Because they put it somewhere else, right? And so, like, I think the thing that's popping for me is, one is for brand. Folks like this might be really useful for you when you're about to go, because they would tell you what the pitfalls are. It's just an extra like moment for you to go, right? Because every brand that gets listed for the first time or the first few times, you get so excited about the listing that you forget to ask them critical things like, where are you going to put me? How many facings? How many
what
stores?
Price? Like, tell me what's going on with this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that when you say that, because how many times have you and I gone on Instagram and Facebook and it's a selfie with a store in the background? We're in ABC store. And you're thinking, that's awesome. So you go in. Yeah. Where?
Well,
at what price?
Well, even like, and so the real test isn't even guys like you and me, right? But Aaron, who is our social media guy, isn't really a retail guy, right?
No.
And so he's talked about how difficult it is to find some of these products. Like, he's listened to it, he's excited because we talk about it with these, he knows these folks as well as we do, and then he goes in and can't find the product.
Yeah. Right? And he's logical. We have let's say it's a chip or cookie person on. So what does Aaron do?
That's where I'm
Runs
going.
down to chip the cookies.
Yeah.
Not in chips and cookies.
No.
Well, you know why? Because it's in deli.
Yeah.
Why is it in deli? Because we had space in deli, and it sort of made sense next to the dips. You're thinking, logically, that makes sense.
But we didn't tell anyone. So
why would I know that?
Yeah.
And again, how much hunting do you think? Listen, we all shop, I think, pretty much the same way. Nobody spends an hour and a half in a grocery store anymore. You're pretty much probably list driven or need driven. You want to be in and out as quickly as probably possible, which I know is not great for retail. But that's sort of the reality. So, make it difficult for me. That's going to make it better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, come on, guys. I like that. I do. I think it's just, I think that the need for just better merchants and better merchandising is, and again, that's why, like, this is the third one we've sort of had on. So we've got, we've had the pictures, we've had the conventional, we've had the natural, and I think it's probably it's just underserviced.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And I think it's just really cool that there's people out there that actually probably can make a difference for these brands.
Yeah. I like it.
I like it too. It's interesting.
Awesome.
Anywho,
thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Hang on 1 second. There it is. Stop.